Well, a couple of weeks ago, as you know, if you were watching the channel, you would have seen me sowing my beans and my peas. Now this is the peas, none have come up as yet, although it's been quite mild, but in the broad bean tray, you can see several beans coming up, which is really good actually, because these broad beans, I'm just looking in the others, were super old. So I was wondering whether any were going to come up at all, but we have 3. It's been really, really mild, and you can see there's 1, 2, 3, and they're just starting to come up. Now this is actually quite good because it's been super mild, so they have started to germinate. But next week it is supposed to really get cold, and that won't kill these. That will just stop them in their tracks. So then, over the winter, they will just stay like this. Put on brief little periods of growth when it warms up a little bit, but I find if you put them in too early or it's a too mild a winter, they get really, really leggy, and then when the frost does come, it does frost them. You want to keep them at this nice small stage, otherwise they do, as I say, the leaves tend to get frosted if they get too long. But yes, that's really, really good that these are coming on. Some nice early crops for me next year. Well, today is the day. This is my Christmas cacti. I've moved it into some better light so that I can do the pollination. And you can see here, the flowers have opened. Now this is obviously the pollen, and here is the stigma, which is the female part of the plant. And pollen on here will fertilise and go right back up that tube and create the seed pod. I've run to IKEA today and bought this new one. So this is a lovely little pink variety. They're £3.50 at the moment in IKEA, so if you want them, go grab them. But remember what I've said before, they do not like being moved. So if you buy one of these, especially from IKEA, when they're in this sort of state, they've got buds, be prepared to lose almost all of these flowers. They will almost certainly just drop off in the next few days. Now because I'm cross-pollinating, this is fine. I made sure I bought one with flowers open. There's tons of pollen here, as you can see, so I can cross-pollinate this plant. So I'm going to take the pollen from this plant and put it on the stigma of this plant, because this plant's used to my house, my conditions, so the flowers won't drop off. This will. Now I am going to cross-pollinate some of these pollen from that other plant back onto here, but it will probably be that these flowers will just drop off and it won't be successful. So I'm going to take, I haven't got a brush, I've only got a pencil, which is not very helpful. So I'm just going to shove that, oh, it's very hard to see. Shove that in there. Get some pollen on it. There's actually quite a lot of pollen on that tip, even though you can't see because of the focus. There's quite a lot on there, and then I'm going to go across here, try and focus in on that flower, and brush some on here. Now obviously it would be better with a brush, but I'm going to keep doing this until I've got loads of pollen. You can see there's a little bit of pollen on there now, and hopefully we will have some seeds starting to form in the future. It's a beautiful day here at Brimwood Farm, and I've been cleaning the animals out. I've just refreshed. What are you doing? I've just refreshed their water, and you can see the quails, the lovely Japanese quails, having a little bit of a drink, and we've got a little escapee down here. She always comes out. I still need to get another hutch and separate them out. As I say, mine are very, very tame, so although I've got quite a lot of boys in here, they don't seem to fight, and I also don't lose them, so when they do come out, they just potter around like this. Where are you going? Where are you going? Okay, you need to come back before you disappear amongst the... Come on, sweetie. I know, we need to sort your foot out as well. I do find that sometimes, you can see here, they get little bobbles on their feet. It happens quite a lot, so what I do, I'm going to put you down. Okay, I'll put you down. I just take them inside, a little bit of lukewarm water in the sink, pop them in there, let them stand in it for a little while, and then it just breaks off easily. it happens quite a lot when you don't have a mesh bottom. If you have a mesh bottom, a lot of the poo falls through, so that's why a lot of people keep them on mesh. I don't think the mesh is particularly good for their feet, so I do like to keep them more like this. But as I say, you just need to keep an eye on their foot, on their feet and their toes, the little toes, to make sure they don't get clogs of poop and dirt and stuff on the end. But they're very, very happy. Not laying any eggs, of course, anymore, because they lay eggs in response to... Oh, I've just discovered we've had an escapee. What are you doing down there? Come on. Obviously they lay eggs in response to the daylight hours, and now the daylight hours are so short they're not laying them anymore. But again, next summer we'll work out who is laying, and they'll go into a different coop for the laying coop, and then whoever isn't laying will just go into the retirement coop. Well, thanks to all of your help with the whitefly, my lantana is looking much better. So I had a massive chop of it, as you know, and you can see it's all starting to bud out here, which is lovely. And one of the main reasons to chop it was, well, A, it got leggy, but B, it was absolutely covered in whitefly. There's a few little ones left. But so basically, I'm spraying it. So here's my spray bottle. It's got a very liquid in it. I spray the leaves, and then I go like this, and all the whitefly come up and they land on the leaves and they basically die. It's worked on the hibiscus as well. This flower is just going over, but you can see the amount of aphids I've had on this hibiscus flower. It doesn't look very pretty when they're dead, but they are in fact dead now, which is good. So I'm spraying that still every day just in case. This hibiscus flower has just come out. Looks beautiful, doesn't it? And you can see there are signs of white aphid casts, but again, I have got rid of almost all whitefly. So this is the leftover from the nymphs of the whitefly when they hatch out, but they're actually, as you can see how bad it was, but there aren't actually any whitefly. I've noticed a couple have actually been on these seeds, so my little hollyhock seedlings which are coming on. I've had a couple of whitefly, but again, I've been treating them with the same situation, and actually because there's only a couple on these, I've just been squishing them. But again, if I can twist over this leaf, oh, there's a couple there. There is a couple. So let's just, oh, one got away. Squish them when I see them. But thanks to you guys, my whitefly issue is so much better. So thank you very much. So I'm doing a test of my microgreens this morning. So you can see that I've harvested. This was pak choi, this was radish. I've harvested them into 2 bowls. I put the salad, the sunflower seeds into this bowl. I put the radish and the pak choi into this bowl, and then I mix them all together, so I've got mixes of 3. Then here I've got those new pots that I got. So these are made of a compostable plastic. So it's not actually plastic, it's made out of a cellulose type thing that is compostable, which is amazing because it just feels like plastic. On the scales, I've worked it out, I can fit about 60 grams of microgreens per pot. So I'm shoving them in. You can see there I've got 41, and then so far I've made these 3 pots, which I think are quite nice. They look quite nice. Once they've got a label on them, on the top, it looks like a nice little array of fresh microgreen salad. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put them into the fridge, and I'm going to see how long they last for, because obviously I don't want to start selling them until I know kind of how long they're going to last in these containers. But I'm really, really happy. And this, so 4 tubs, so 60, so 120, so 240 grams worth came from those 2 tubs that I'm growing, and it makes 4 tubs, which obviously is a tiny amount actually if you're only selling them at peanuts. I also need to work out price points for this for 60 grams, but it's kind of nice having a little bit of a play. Well, it is a D-Day for these 2 roosters. They've got a bit big now, and they are crowing incessantly. Especially at 4 o'clock in the morning, they like to start. They were popped in this crate overnight, and that just prevents them from eating, so that you don't end up having to kill, pluck and dress them when they've got poop in their system, which is not very nice. It just keeps your meat a bit cleaner and makes the whole process a lot nicer. They've been well cared for, they've been happy, so it's time to say goodbye to these 2 roosters, and also to reduce the flock ahead of winter as well, when you don't want as many birds around. They're cream lead bath boys, they're a good weight. So that is this morning's task, is to sit down and cull these 2, undress them and pop them in the freezer, and do it nice and sensitively as well, so their lives haven't been completely wasted. So that is today's job. Here we are back at the budgie nest, and so last week I obviously showed you that we had 1 egg. Here is our lovely male, and let's look inside and see how Sunny's getting on. There she is. Hello Sunny. Now you're going to move a little bit for me. There we go. 5 lovely eggs. Now she has actually started incubating now. She started incubating after the 3rd egg. So she's about 6 days in now, and obviously they hatch after 21 days. So we're looking at a hatch the 1st week of December. I haven't worked it out properly. I know she's a good mum, so they will hatch when they hatch. But let's just pop that back down so she can go back in. Off she goes. So 1st week of December we should have little babies.